Oh, oh no, I was thinking of another one. They said it's 25 years since EMI signed it. I said, well, that time they gave us some royalties then.
No, you didn't tell us that one. That's a good one. But why do you think, I mean, you just said there's the 20 years ago, the Sgt. Pepper thing on Granada that Derek worked on, and let's face it, George, everybody is still fascinated by the Beatles.
Yeah, let's hope they buy my new album.
Well, you are one of the four.
I know, but they're into, a lot of people who just get stuck on something that's a craze, and then they don't see that, it takes all these other bits that make that, I think a lot of people would, if you put out a record and called it the Beatles, you'd have all these people that rush out and buy it regardless of if it was a load of rubbish, because, of the name. It's like, Michael Jackson. They think, oh, well, let's go and get it because it's him, because it's them. Without, I mean, the Beatles did some good things, but they also did some rubbish too.
I don't know if I'd agree with you.
Oh,
but...
yeah, my new album's much better than anything the Beatles ever did. Why you're cutting up?
You talk about them like they are someone else.
They are.
You don't feel like, I mean, that was you.
Yeah. I suppose it was. But it's so long ago, it's like a previous incarnation.
But yeah, you sound so much more close to when you talk about the days before you were famous. You got very enthusiastic about talking about playing the clubs and what that was like.
Well, because that was when we were a band. When we became the famous Fabs, it was really all over. Sort of that aspect of just being a group playing and what we're going to do, where we didn't have to care, where we could drink and just, just be up there being a rock band in our leather suits. And later we had to be, we became popular and all this stuff happened where we sang the same songs a lot. We still had a laugh. It was still good fun, but that side of it of playing like as a musician lost the edge there because we just play the same tunes that we played recorded. We'd go around the world singing the same 10 songs, and every year we'd lose one and add a new one. And it got a bit boring being Fab.
Yeah, but I think we all, those of us here who went.
But you'd only see one show at a time. You see, we did it every night. She loves you. Woo. You think you've lost your love, oh God, not again.
What about playing clubs? Have you considered that at all? Because you said the whole hoopla of doing a tour is so tough.
I think what I like to do is play in somewhere like the Holiday Inn in Minnesota or somewhere, somewhere where nobody goes, or there's just a few old people in the corner who don't know who you are. And then you can just be, ding, 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 and just play, get a few friends and a few beers on the piano and do that kind of thing. The pressure, of people expecting you to do something, I mean, it's a wonder we didn't all go bananas, really, because, just say for that instance, that Prince's Trust, it was bad enough me and then Ringo. If you imagine Paul there as well, people are they're expecting to hear, whatever. I don't know what they're expecting to hear, but we could never deliver that, Can't deliver goods. And on one hand, you've been so put in a little box and looked at through microscopes and to the point where you could be the most paranoid people in the world, afraid to go anywhere and to play guitars with other people, and suddenly you have to come back out and just try and be ordinary. I mean, that's the thing, is try to be just an ordinary person and play a few tunes, but they won't let you do that. They want you to come out there with flames coming out of your fingers, singing all these wonderful things that don't really exist. It's just all in the concept of what it was.
Well, they're as much a part of that as you are. And you're past that, and they're past that, too. I mean, my memories of the Beatles are as much a part of what I was doing at that time as what you were doing at that time.
But then's then, and now's now,
exactly.
And it sort of doesn't work anymore.
I've always said at Beatle Fest, if any of you showed up, people would probably actually ignore you because you really don't have anything to do with it. You know,
it's like that. We don't have anything to do with it. It's like this. They've got this attitude, like public domain. You know, as if we're some old thing like Mozart who died years ago, and so we can all have T-shirts and rip them off and sell their manuscripts in Sotheby's, and everything that happened to the Beatles. All these things were forever trying to, have lawsuits against people, Beatlemanias, and all that stuff. It's unfair, really, because they all have this attitude that, the Beatles were just so big, and like it's like Mozart. It's just something which we can all have, and but there's only 4 people it has nothing to do with, and that's John, Paul, George, and Ringo. Everybody else is in there grabbing and,
we belong to us. Right.
Yes.
Okay, switch things. Probably, yeah. Now, as a filmmaker, from this perspective, looking back on A Hard Day's Night, Help, and Let It Be, which you were a star of, do you think they were good movies?
I think Hard Day's Night and Help, yeah, under the circumstances. First of all, like Hard Day's Night, we were, everybody likes to make a movie, but we just made a few records, got popular, now we're making a movie. They got a writer who met us for like 3 days and wrote the script, and I think the magic about it was at least he picked up the idea, the vibe of what was happening on the road and translated that into it wasn't brilliant, but it was adequate. And considering we were all pretty useless at acting, I think Dick Lester, should take a lot of credit, because it was his ability and his experience with comedy that he'd done before with Spike Milligan and Peter Sellers and stuff. He had a great sense of humor, and he had a great ability to let us be what we were. And I think that all worked out good, and there was plenty of songs, catchy little tunes, and that was fine. I think Help, had to step up a bit, and it was a big colour film, but it's still pretty funny, even it's in a slightly dumb way. That's why I keep referring to the Rutles. The Rutles to me, The Hard Day's Night and Help is very Rutley. And I think they worked out. The other one you mentioned, which was really supposed to be us rehearsing to make a record, and they were just filming the rehearsal, and that turned into the movie. And they let it rot. The Rutles was called. That, I didn't like that. The scenes in it, like on the roof, that was quite good. And there's a bits and pieces that's okay, but most of it just makes me so aggravated I can't watch it. Because it was a particularly bad experience that we were having at that time, and it's bad enough when you're having it, let alone having it filmed and recorded, so that you've got to watch it for the rest of your life. I don't like it.
Like reliving an accident.
Yeah,
Can we do that again?
terrible. Yeah.
Can you show me that accident one more time? Are you going to work on Ringo's album?
If he wants some silly guitar playing.
How about producing a couple tracks? I know
I
Elton's
think
doing.
Elton's doing. Yeah,
Mhm.
I've told Elton it's very nice of him to do that, and if he, if I'm around, I'll certainly join in, help him out if you could call it that.
Can you tell us a little bit about your you are self-deprecating. These days.
Well, sure, I'll go. I'll help him.
All right, I'll make it work. Right.